Ic4 Encyclopedia Communication. Communication under new management, guided by the forces of the universe. Your sacred council. Discover the secrets of the universe, which reveals an assembly or circle of 32 laws of universe and nature, or better said, the guiding forces of universe and nature, such as duality, time, change, attraction, cause and effect, order, place and function, and many more. We are all looking for change, struggling in so many ways and aspects of our life. We may have an advisor, a healthcare practitioner, a nutritionist, personal trainer, or even a lifestyle coach. But we don't have access to them all day long. So enter the circle of vital and aware living and meet the Sacred Council, your personal lifestyle and awareness coaching team, always ready to assist you in every moment and in any circumstance. We are like visitors in a foreign country without knowing the laws and how everything functions in that world. We know a lot about the things of the modern world, but know little about the basics of life. See how they assist us with every step we make and with every breath we take, and make them practical in your daily life in dealing with your real self, your soul, your mind and your thoughts, your body, words and communication, nutrition, fitness, your life partner, children, the teenage years, getting older, stress, weight, disease, emotions, business, destructive habits, preserving the planet, studying, and friendships. For more detailed information on each of the guiding forces, see the intro booklet. There are endless words that can be connected to any subject, and each subject can have many books because each subject can be approached from various perspectives or angles. Most important, however, is not to forget that all that is said or written is merely an opinion, a truth, and not the truth. Because the spoken and written word is part of the creative world created in opposites, constantly changing and bound to time, and there is always more that can be said or written about any subject. Regarding me and the Sacred Council members talking about any subject, know that this understanding applies to that information as well. The information is formed from their particular point of view and brought to you through the world of visionary and mystical fiction. Hopefully, it contributes to your life and assists you to experience life in a more conscious, mystical, and magical way. By hearing or reading this information, you will come to the conclusion that you know this already, and you do, because this is part of your universal and spiritual inheritance. And often, we just need one word or a sentence that inspires and motivates us to do things differently or to think about a certain subject from a different perspective. The guiding force of the Creator. Make God a reality in your life. In regards to communication, stay aware that God, the life-creating and life-sustaining force, is in everybody and everything. Know that you are speaking to God all the time, 24 hours a day, talking to yourself, others, or to anything in creation, for He is in everybody and everything. Realize that His power to create is in each word you use, so be careful what you create. Quote, "The mind is everything. What you think, you will become." Buddha. End of quote. The guiding force of the universal teacher. Master or be mastered. In regards to communication, stay aware to not hurt anyone's feelings. Know the power but also the limitation of words. In order to speak correctly, you have to master your mind and ego and rise above your limited and conditioned way of communicating. To speak up for yourself, is to share, with the permission of the other person, and without pointing a finger and without expectation. Realize that each thought communicated through a word is a masterpiece connecting you either to the world or to God. So before you say anything, let's first ask yourself if it is true, if it is necessary, and if it is kind. Silent prayer and meditation is the way to think these things first over, and it is communicating with God. Quote, words have the power to both destroy and heal. When words are true and kind, they change the world. Buddha. End of quote. The guiding force of the power of the mind. Know the tricks of your mind. In regards to communication, stay aware that everything you say is merely an opinion. Know that as long as your mind is driven by the sense organs and passions, that the mind has you fully in its grip. The mind can let you believe anything and realize that you can overpower and manipulate others with words and through the way you use them. Quote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Marcus Aurelius. End of quote. The guiding force of the true disciple. Follow the master and the teachings. In regards to communication, stay aware that you may speak on behalf of your spiritual teacher. Visualize your teacher standing next to you when you speak, and visualize him as well in everybody you are speaking to. Realize that as long as you have not reached the level of your teacher, that you speak from your point of view. Quote, the master in his astral form is always with you inside, and if you go in there, you can see him personally and talk with him. Huzur Marwaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. The guiding force of your inner hero. Be the hero of your own life adventure. In regards to communication, stay aware that what and how you speak is based on your past conditionings. In order to speak differently, you have to conquer these conditionings. You may have to unlearn and relearn the way you communicate. Most trouble you are facing in your life is due to poor or lack of clear and proper communication. A hero communicates in ways to bring encouragement to him or herself and others, and never comes from power, authority, or instilling fear in others. Quote, with courage you will dare to take risk, have the strength to be compassionate, and the wisdom to be humble. Courage is the foundation of integrity. Kesavan Nayir. End of quote. The guiding force of maturity and wisdom. Learn from the wise elders and nature. In regards to communication, stay aware that wisdom is attained through listening and not through speaking. Quote, as I grow older, I pay less attention to what men say. I just watch what they do. Andrew Carnegie. End of quote. Learn to listen to your own words while communicating. Choose the way you communicate to others how you want that others speak to you. Ask for permission to speak and only give advice when asked for. Quote, a superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions. Confucius. End of quote. The guiding force of fantasy and magic. Live your life as a magical adventure. In regards to communication, stay aware that words can be destructive but also magical. Always imagine a child in front of you when you speak. When you are allowed to speak, choose words that inspire others. Communicate with your entire body and play with the magic of words, but know that it all belongs to the make-believe world called creation. You talk about many things, but why not inspiring others with magical stories and using words in such a way that creates a magical atmosphere? Especially with your children, when you need to convey a message. Who wants to hear harsh words and listening to serious things and be pointed at? Come from the highest virtue and play them out as roles and see how your world changes. Quote, virtue is the truest nobility. Miguel de Cervantes. End of quote. The guiding force of translating messages. Decipher the symbolic meaning of messages. In regards to communication, stay aware that the words you use can have a different meaning to others. Be alert of giving subtle messages, manipulating or trying to overpower when speaking to others. Others then injecting the words with love and compassion. Try to decode the subtle messages that may be hidden behind the words of others. Replace words that have too much negativity connected. There are many schools and teachers who can teach you to start communicating in different ways. Make a study on effective communication, or stay ignorant and communicating in a way that is not good for you and anybody. The healing of ourselves and ultimately the healing of the world starts within your own mind, the center of communications. Quote, the only work that will ultimately bring any good to any of us is the work of contributing to the healing of the world. Marianne Williamson. End of quote. The guiding force of the energy of solids and earth. Feel connected and keep on experiencing new. In regards to communication, use it as a respectful visitor. Always be open for new and better ways of communicating. Let go of the old, destructive and outdated ways of communicating. You try to be in control of yourself and trying to control others, and creating ways of communication you hold on to in order to accomplish this. You live in an illusion because everything controls you, for the things you think and say are conditioned. And not to forget the needs of your body, the weather, the seasons and the economy. They all control you. Quote, you cannot control what happens to you, but you can control your attitude towards what happens to you. And in that, you will be mastering change rather than allowing it to master you. Brian Tracy. End of quote. All you say and hear is just a perspective and an opinion, and there is no reason to hold on to any of them, as they are not the truth. The only communication that will get you out of the creation is with God, and that communication is love and devotion. Quote, your whole being should be saturated with this devotion, and when the heart is full, no words come out. When we try to preserve this treasure within us and let it penetrate into our very blood and bones, the Lord showers more and more of His grace and blessings on us. Huzur Maharaj Charan Singh Ji. End of quote. The guiding force of the energy of liquids and water. Go with the flow. and in moderation. In regards to communication, do not lust for self-righteousness through words. Go with the flow and adapt your way of speaking to the level of others, so they can grasp what you're trying to say. Do not be stubborn, but communicate differently when needed. Be creative in your ways of communicating and do not get too serious. Quote, stubborn and ardent clinging to one's opinion is the best proof of stupidity. Michel de Montaigne. End of quote. The guiding force of the energy of heat and fire. Pace yourself in order to digest. In regards to communication, speak in such a way so you and others can digest the content. Pace yourself and be patient with others. Try to convert something to you. Do not fall for anger expressed through fear-instilling words. Delay any conversation when you are in anger or when you are not in balance. Be gentle with your words. Quote, if the other person injures you, you may forget the injury, but if you injure him, you will always remember. Kahlil Gibran. End of quote. The guiding force of the energy of gases and air. Embrace, endure, and love it all. In regards to communication, let love come through your words. Be patient to get your message across, but also be patient when others try to convert something to you. Keep breathing and exhale when you hear challenging things. Embrace all what is said as a truth and not the truth. Quote, with love and humility, forget each other's apparent mistakes or faults, and make due allowance for differences of opinion. Maharaj Sawan Singh. End of quote. Be in touch with the words you say and do not let them run out without having touched base with them first. The guiding force of ether connected to audible sounds and verbal communication. Realize that everything you hear and say is just an opinion. In regards to communication, stay aware that all that is communicated is just an opinion. Quote, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Marcus Aurelius. End of quote. Realize that it is not easy to translate your reality and feelings through words. Keep your ears open for other people's opinion and do not judge them. Quote, do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Matthew 7:12. End of quote. Some things cannot have words, and other things are better left unsaid. Learn to speak up for yourself without harming others. What about speaking with words infused with compassion, care, love, understanding, affection, and kindness? Quote, never lose a chance of saying a kind word. William Makepeace Thackeray. End of quote. The guiding force of ether, connected to the conditioned mind, associations, and non-audible communication. Stay aware of your limited and conditioned realities. In regards to communication, stay aware that all spoken is just the product of your upbringing and experience during your life. Quote, our life always expresses the result of our dominant thoughts. Søren Kierkegaard. End of quote. Have an open mind to what others have to say without judging them. Stay clear and focused before and during your conversations. Leave your negative emotions out of your conversations. Learn to pause before you say anything or respond to anything. Stop being a robot. Communicate more with God on the inside, or just learn to sit still in the waiting room. Quote, "Be careful of your thoughts. They may become words at any moment." Iragasan. End of quote. Communication, when non-verbal possible, can also be achieved with the pen, and oftentimes thoughts do not need to be shared, but just written off. Writing can be used to get certain things just out of your system. However, the pen can also be used to express beautiful things by writing songs and stories and poetry. Quote, "The pen is the tongue of the mind." Miguel de Cervantes. End of quote. The guiding force of ether, connected to the universal mind, higher virtues, and soul communication. Observe yourself. In regards to communication, connect with the higher virtues: acceptance, humbleness, forgiveness, gentleness, moderation, and selflessness. Do not crown yourself or others for their such-called gift or speech. Listen, observe, and do not get involved. Be more in silence and speak more with your Creator. Quote, "He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know." Lao Tzu. End of quote. When your mind is driven by the sense organs, it will put itself as the ego on the throne, and even argues with the Creator, complains, and is not satisfied how things are run by him. Realize that all you think and come up with belongs to the mind and the world of creation. Quote, "Thoughts come through people, not from them." Antonio D'Angelo. End of quote. The guiding force of duality. Accept and deal with the duality in everything and everybody. In regards to communication, stay aware that there will be communication and miscommunication. Words, being part of the creation which is created in opposites, have already a duality within themselves. There need to be two sides to each word or story, otherwise you could not be able to realize, recognize, and appreciate the other side. You can speak with soft words and with harsh words, with ease or intention, and any other forms of its opposites. Speak unto others in the way you want to be spoken to. Quote, "Debate is masculine, conversation is feminine." Amos Bronson Alcott. End of quote. The guiding force of time. Learn to live in the moment. In regards to communication, learn to stay in the moment and do not let the mind pull you into the past or future. Be on guard not to rush yourself and others through a conversation. Do not try to say too much in a short time, but take your time. Set time aside and protect that time to ensure the quality of your conversations. Quote, "O you who believe, seek assistance through patience and prayer. Surely Allah is with the patient." Quran. End of quote. The guiding force of change. Learn to go with the ever-changing adventure. In regards to communication, know that you can change at any given moment your perspective, which changes the entire conversation instantly into something positive. Be on guard not to get stranded just with your point of view, as it is just a point of view. Quote, "If you want to make enemies, try to change something." Woodrow Wilson. End of quote. In order to change your old way of communicating, you may have to study and learn different ways. The guiding force of cycles. Tune into the natural cycles of life. In regards to communication, Know that any conversation is subject to the force of cycles. Know that each conversation needs to have an introduction or warming up part, so to speak. Stay connected to the main content of the conversation and stay focused. Know that there is also a cool down phase needed in any conversation in order to calm the energy. Quote, listen and attend with the ear of your heart. Saint Benedict. End of quote. The guiding force of balance. It is nature's duty to recreate balance. In regards to communication, know that any conversation needs to end with two winners. There will be no balance when one person leaves after any conversation feeling thrown out of balance. In any conversation, there is a give and take. Quote, the difficult part is in an argument is not to defend one's opinion, but rather to know it. André Maurice. End of quote. Know that any imbalance will try to create balance again. So finish each conversation with a good balance. The guiding force of necessities. Simplicity is the key. In regards to communication, know that any conversation needs to be simple so both parties can benefit from it. Guard that the key point of the conversation doesn't end up in a forest of complexity. Quote, the sage does not talk. The talented ones talk, and the stupid ones argue. Kung Tingang. End of quote. Create an environment that will suit the kind of conversation you are going to have. The key of a good conversation is that a child should understand and enjoy it. The guiding force of wholeness. No need to go more into separation. In regards to communication, know that any conversation needs to be whole and complete for that moment in time. Make sure that all the pieces of content are being brought together in order to be a wholesome conversation. Although letters and words are separate pieces of a conversation, but they should create a clear picture. Let each conversation be towards union and not separation. Quote, out of many, one people. Jamaican motto. End of quote. Know that when you do not communicate from the level of your soul, you are already in separation and separating things and people. The guiding force of comprehension. There is always more than you can see or comprehend. In regards to communication, know that each word has more meaning and an entire history behind it. Be as clear as possible in each conversation, but know that someone else will not 100% comprehend it as you expect. Realize that everybody has a different background and understanding. Quote, it is by universal misunderstanding that all agree. For if by ill luck people understood each other, they would never agree. Charles Baudelaire. End of quote. The guiding force of improvement and perfection. There is always room for improvement. In regards to communication, know that there is not a perfect conversation or perfect way of communicating. Words are part of the imperfect world bound to time, created in duality and constantly changing. Although you cannot be perfect in your way of communicating, there is always room for improvement. Quote, so if you have something to convey to another, don't wait until the perfect moment, because it may never arrive. Bianca Guerra. End of quote. The guiding force of order, place and function. Everything is part of an order and has a function and place. In regards to communication, know that each letter and word has an equal place in the makeup of a sentence and conversation. In order to be more clear in your communication, learn more about language and grammar. There is also an order when having a conversation, a law, so to speak. Ask for permission to speak, wait for your turn, do not interrupt, no need to raise your voice or manipulate others with your words. Quote, "To listen well is as powerful a means of influence as to talk well, and is as essential to all true conversation." Chinese proverb. End of quote. The guiding force of cause and effect. Every action has not just one reaction, but causes a chain reaction and creates a reality you have to deal with. In regards to communication, know that you create a reality you have to live in yourself. Know that every action has not only one reaction, but also a chain reaction, so be careful with your words. Words are like pictures that you insert in the book of life for the future. Let's accept all the conversations you now have as a result of your past and make the best out of them. Maybe it is better to say less or nothing at all and listen more, but not doing anything with the information. Quote, "If speaking is silver, then listening is gold." Turkish proverb. End of quote. The guiding force of contraction and expansion. Quality or quantity? In regards to communication, know that you can say too much or too little trying to get your point across. Know that you can speak with too many words, not getting to the point and confusing someone else. Know also that by saying nothing that you can say too much. Know that trying to keep on saying the same thing over and over again may not have any or a negative effect on the other. So make your way of speaking into a quality product and do not offend others, for they will get angry or they freeze. They stay open and expand their way of thinking, or they contract by closing off. The guiding force of repetition. Using the ability to repeat for the right reason and purpose. In regards to communication, know that through repetition you learn the skill of your language. Know also that your positive and negative ways of speaking are trained through repetition. Realize that you can unlearn and train new ways of communicating through the capacity of repetition. By repeating yourself too often, the power of words often diminish. The guiding force of reflections. All your experiences are a reflection from within yourself. In regards to communication, know that all you hear are reflections within yourself, otherwise you could not understand them. Be aware to mirror and reflect when somebody is approaching you in a negative way. Let them see what they are doing without going in defense or attack. The words you speak are an outside mirror of what is going on inside of you. Quote, "Walking your talk is a great way to motivate yourself. No one likes to live a lie. Be honest with yourself, and you will find the motivation to do what you advise others to do." Vince Poscente. End of quote. The guiding force of rhythm and vibrations. Realize that what you are, you will attract or repel. In regards to communication, know that each letter and word has a special vibration. The way you speak will, for that reason, either attract or repel others. There is also a certain rhythm and vibration to using letters and words that create sentences and a conversation. A good conversation is for that reason as good as listening to good music that relaxes and uplifts you in any down energy. Quote, "Think of it in terms of vibration. It is easy to understand that language, the spoken word, has a vibration. Well, written words also have a vibration. Anything in existence has a vibration. Masaru Emoto. End of quote. The guiding force of service. Learn to serve and care. In regards to communication, know how to speak from the heart of your soul. Serve others with the art of silence or with compositions of inspirational words and empathy. When you speak, speak with care and love, and real love has no expectation. It just loves to love and care. Have compassion with others who do not know how to speak proper language, or do not have the skill of proper communication. Quote, give love and unconditional acceptance to those you encounter and notice what happens. Wayne Dyer. The guiding force of individuality. There is no need for comparing and competing. In regards to communication, stay aware that everything and everybody communicates in their own individual and unique way. Quote, when we talk in company, we lose our unique tone of voice, and this leads us to make statements which in no way correspond to our real thoughts. Friedrich Nietzsche. End of quote. For that reason, there is no need to compare or to compete with others of who communicates better or different. On the level of your soul, you all communicate the same, because on that level, it is just all about love.